Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining our talk today. We're going to be talking about how to do easier data collection and management with Elastic Agent. I'm Jason Skowronski. I'm a product manager here at Elastic. And we've also got Nima Rezainia here, who is also a product manager that I work very closely with. I want to start by talking about some of the challenges that we have with instrumenting your hosts and your applications with instrumentation. Instrumentation is really valuable because it allows you to monitor the status of those hosts and secure them, but it takes a lot of time to instrument them. For some organizations, particularly large, complex ones, it could take months to go through the whole process of deploying your instrumentation across all your hosts. That has an impact on your ability to have observability over those hosts, and it impacts your business. The challenge is, why does it take so long? Well, you often have to install multiple agents per host. You may have different agents for monitoring logs and metrics, for monitoring security, for being able to do APM monitoring. Each one of these agents takes additional time to install, not only to deploy across all your hosts, but a lot of times you have to go through management and compliance processes when you install things to hosts. You may have to go through IT and security review each time you want to install a new agent. And then the deployment process isn't easy either. You often have to install through multiple networks, often geographically distributed around the world, and different data centers. Additionally, once you have the agents instrumented, well, then you have to process all the data they generate. That's not an easy task, as well as being able to analyze all that data to get insight out of it. So we're doing several things to make it radically easier to get started with Elastic. The first is that we're making it much easier to set up. We're doing that with a single unified Elastic agent. So you don't have to install multiple different agents anymore. Additionally, we're helping you get faster time to insight. With a single click, you can get integrations for popular services and applications. And lastly, we're making it easier to manage those agents at scale. So now you can keep them up to date and update their configurations and the binary versions remotely. I want to talk a little bit more about Elastic Agent. I mentioned earlier that we're having a single unified agent. Before, you had to install separate agents. So you had FileBeat for logs, MetricBeat for metrics, Endpoint for endpoint security, APM server for traces, etc. And now you can get all that same instrumentation, that same insight from one single agent, which is the Elastic Agent. It gives you logs, metrics, security, uptime, traces, window data, and more. It's one thing to install. It's one thing to configure. You don't have to configure each of those separately. You only have to manage one thing. It's easier to scale across thousands of hosts, and it's easier to secure. The next thing we do is we provide one-click integrations, and these are available through the integrations app in Kibana. So you can add these integrations in a single click. We have over 100 integrations available today for things like Apache and AWS. We have many more coming soon. The command line isn't needed anymore. With Beats, you had to install these modules on the command line, and you didn't have a choice over which ones you wanted to install. You had to install assets for all of them. Now you can choose the ones that you want. Making it easy to add new integrations allows you to enable new use cases and collect data very quickly. And that allows you to go from installing that agent to collecting insight in just a few seconds. In addition to adding out-of-the-box assets with those integrations, we also make it easier to configure the integrations. And so that allows you to turn off things like logs and metrics, or say which log files you're collecting. Before, you had to do that with a YAML file. And now we provide a nice web UI that gives you out-of-the-box defaults. It makes it very easy to get started. You can still use YAML if you want, but we try to make it easy for people with that nice web UI. Additionally, while you're observing your hosts in terms of system monitoring and application monitoring, why not protect them from security threats as well? With Elastic Agent, you also get an automated response to security threats through endpoint security. It can protect your systems from malware. And again, you can deploy that to Elastic Agent with just a single click. The other thing you can do is centrally manage your Elastic agents. When you have thousands of agents spread across multiple data centers, you need a way to get visibility into their status. Now you can see which agents are healthy and which ones are unhealthy or need to be updated. You can update those agents very quickly. When there's a new version of the agent released, you can update it with just a few clicks right here in the UI. Additionally, you can update all the configurations. So the agent policies can be updated through Fleet. And you can deploy that with just one click across thousands of agents. Additionally, Fleet allows you to improve security by generating per agent API keys with limited permissions. And it means that you don't have to deal with headaches anymore dealing with third-party configuration management solutions like Chef or Ansible. We handle that for you automatically, and it's just one less thing for you to manage and maintain. So with that, I'm going to pop over to a demo and show you how easy it is to get started with agent and integrations. All right, welcome to Elastic Agent Integrations. This is the single place where you can see all the different ways you can integrate Elastic with third-party systems. You can see we have support here for Apache, APM, AWS, and lots of other integrations. I want to walk you through a demo right now where I'm going to monitor an IIS web server that I have running on one of my VMs. So I'm going to search for the IIS integration here and go ahead and take a look at this one. This integration will provide things like system counters. I'll get web service metrics and all kinds of other useful information about IIS. To add this, all I have to do is click Add IIS, and then it gives me some settings where I can choose what information I want to send to Elastic. So I'm going to send access and error logs, as well as web server and website metrics. I'm going to use my default agent policy. An agent policy is just a way of saying which group of agents I want to send this data from. I'm going to use the default one to get started. All I have to do is click Save Integration. And that's going to add that integration to my default policy here. Now I'm back at the Policies tab. I can see this policy that I just added for IIS. I don't have any agents using this policy right now. So I'm going to go ahead and add my first agent. It gives me some instructions. It tells me to download that Elastic agent to my host and gives me a link to the download page. It tells me which enrollment token. I've got a default one that's been generated for me. The enrollment token allows the agent to authenticate to Elastic. Next, there's a command that I can copy and paste, which will install that agent on my host. So I'm going to go ahead and copy that. And now I'm going to switch over to my Windows VM. And I'm just going to paste this in my command terminal here. So this installs the Elastic agent, and it's got two pieces of information here. One is the URL. So this URL is how it connects to Fleet Server. We'll learn about that in a little bit. It's a backend component that does the central management for the agents. And then the next part here is the enrollment token. And then that's the part that authenticates the agent to Elastic. You can see that the agent is now successfully enrolled and installed. Since we're doing an IIS demo here, I'm just going to go ahead and generate some GET requests on my IIS server so I can see those in my metrics. Now I'm going to switch back to Kibana. And I should be able to see some data coming in. So I'm going to switch over to the Assets tab here. You can see that this provides some out-of-the-box dashboards that make it very easy for me to get insights from that IIS server. So I have things like web server process overview, I've got access and error logs, and I've got a web server overview. So I'm going to go ahead and click this one just to see the data that's coming in from this server. So this is loading up a dashboard, and I should be able to see some of those GET requests that I made coming in. Yep, I see them right here. So this is telling me that there's some GET requests to that server coming in. That worked in just a few seconds. Additionally, I can see additional information like how long the server was up. The other cool thing about Elastic is that it provides a whole bunch of other dashboards and visibility into your servers. So I'm going to go ahead and click the Dashboard tab over here. And I can see that I've got a lot of other ways that I can analyze my systems. I'm going to go ahead and click and type system here. And I can see that I've got a whole bunch of system information available as well. So I can see who's running sudo commands, SSH login attempts, etc. I'm going to go ahead and just look at a host overview. And this is going to tell me basically how that host is performing in terms of its capacity. So I can see that I've got some CPU metrics coming in. We're at like 20, 30% CPU. And let's see if there's any other data coming in. Here we've got some memory usage. We're looking pretty healthy here on memory capacity and disk capacity as well. So while I'm observing the system and just sort of, looking at the infrastructure and the application, why don't I protect it from security threats as well? I'm going to go ahead and add my endpoint security integration. All I have to do is search up here, and this will take me right to the endpoint security integration. This protects my host from malware and other types of threats. So I can go ahead and just click to add that endpoint security integration as soon as it loads. And then give it a name. This is going to use that default policy that I used previously for that IIS server. All I have to do is click save, and this will deploy it to that agent that I've already installed. It does that automatically. I don't have to go back to the host and run any additional commands. I don't have to install anything new on the host. All it does is enable that capability on the agent that I've already set up. So that endpoint security is now working. I'm going to go ahead and add endpoint security to some other agents as well, because I want to see that this works not just on my single host, but I want to see it work on many hosts. So I'm going to add another endpoint security integration. And this time I'm going to choose my corporate laptops. Go ahead and give that a name and then save it. I've got about 1,000 agents installed here. So this is about 1,000 corporate laptops that I'm going to be protecting from security threats. So I'll go ahead and save that and deploy it across all those laptops as well. So that's it. Fleet is now deploying that across all those laptops. Let's go ahead and switch to the Fleet tab and take a look at that rollout happening in progress. So here's the Fleet tab. I can get an overview here of the status of all my agents. This is the Windows desktop VM that I set up earlier. And then I can see that I've got about 1,000 healthy hosts. Some of them are out of date, and they're getting the new version of their agent policy, which includes endpoint security. I can also see that I've got an upgrade available for my Windows machine. I can go ahead and upgrade the version of that agent just by clicking on the Upgrade Agent button, and this will automatically deploy that upgrade to the agent. So this makes it very easy to be able to keep all of those agents up to date, even if I don't have direct access to those hosts. I don't have to run any special commands. I don't have to run Puppet. I don't need special security permissions. I can just do this right here in the Fleet UI. And that makes it very easy to keep everything up to date. Okay, it looks like these agents are now updated and endpoint security is deployed across all these corporate laptops. Let's take a look and see if this endpoint security is working. I'm going to switch back over to my Windows VM. I happen to have Nima, which is a security tool that happens to be having some malware capabilities. So I'm going to go ahead and extract this one, and we're going to see endpoint security catch this. So I can go ahead and extract this tool, and then I'm going to log in or double click in here and try to execute this. Let's go ahead and run that. And now I get an error message saying that this file contains a virus or unwanted software, and I see that I get a malware alert here from endpoint security. Cool, so it seems like that worked pretty well. Let's head back over to Kibana and take a look at what that looks like in the security application. So I'm going to come over here, go to the security overview. I can see I've got some alerts coming in. This is a malware prevention alert. So let's go ahead and view those detection alerts. And I can see right here that we've got a malware prevention alert running on that Windows desktop that I've set up. And we can go ahead and analyze that event. What's cool about this is it gives me a whole process tree here. So I can see that the root process here is Explorer. And then here's the terminated process. This is the one that we killed. That's the malware that was running on the system. So this is all really cool. Basically, what we've been able to do in just a few minutes is we installed Elastic Agent on a host. We were able to get IIS monitoring installed with just a few clicks. We got host monitoring in terms of our system CPU and memory, et cetera. And we got endpoint security, protecting that host from security threats. I did that all with installing a single agent and just a few clicks in the UI. So now I'm going to turn it over to Nima, and he's going to talk a little bit more about the architecture that makes this possible.
Thank you, Jason. Hi, everyone. I'm Nima. As Jason introduced me, a product manager here at Elastic. As a follow-up to what Jason just demonstrated, let's discuss that ingest architecture behind what was just shown to you and dive a bit deeper into what's available for you to use today. As you saw during that demo, the Kibana is the interface of the whole system. Within Kibana, we have two main applications, mainly the integrations app and the Fleet app. You see them here in blue boxes, Fleet UI, integrations UI, respectively. Integrations are essentially components that replace what we have with what we have with modules for beats. They contain the logic that tells us how to collect data from various sources, as Jason was showing you, as well as load pre-built dashboards and other assets that we need for that integration to operate. Within Kibana integrations app, we also have a user interface, as you saw. This allows us to add, configure, and manage integrations, as it was demonstrated just now by Jason. In addition to these components, there's an Elastic Package Registry, which is external to Kibana in a way, but this is where all the packages are stored and versioned. So we have all that, and in the background, the correct package will get downloaded for use. Now, the other application that I mentioned within Kibana is the Fleet app. The Fleet app allows the user to configure the policy, as you saw, and ultimately allows us to apply those policies and download them to the agents that have been deployed. Moving on towards this architecture, those policies that were configured will be sent via the Fleet server to all the agents. Now, that's a component you see on the left of the screen. The Fleet server is a separate component that centrally manages all the remote agents who enroll into the system. It manages the state of the Elastic agents. It is responsible for pushing policy down to those agents. And as you saw in the demonstration, it makes sure that all the agents are up to date as far as those versions are concerned. So there's no mismatch as far as what policies deployed on those agents. Lastly, but not least, obviously, we have the agent itself as a single binary that's been downloaded onto the edge machines. As you saw demonstrated, a single agent allows us to have a seamless collection of observability, security data, and traces for APM. The Fleet server that we just discussed is enabled by default on Elastic Cloud and works right out of the box, so to speak. We deploy them as multiple containers in a highly available fashion. We have the control plane load balance between these containers. So there's really not much that the user needs to worry about from that perspective. If higher resiliency is a requirement for your deployment, you also have the choice of deploying these servers across multiple availability zones. And that can be configured within the cloud portal of Kibana. This is very easy. This provides a very easy way for our customers to scale the deployment of their agents with literally a few clicks and configuration steps. Now, let's quickly review what's available right now for you to use. The Elastic Agent itself and the Fleet server and all the components that we've shown you have been generally available since the 7.14 release. So everything there that you saw is ready for you to use. In addition to that, we have bundled in generally available the system integration that will be enabled by default with as soon as you run the Elastic Agent. This collects metrics and logs associated with the operating system that the agent is deployed on. All the flavors of platforms are supported, from Windows, different flavors of Linux to Mac OS. In addition to the above, what we have available, generally available today, is the endpoint security component that Jason demoed just now, in addition to some other security-related integrations. Fortinet, Palo Alto, Okta, and Zeek come to mind. These are generally available today. As you saw within the integrations tab, we have more than 100 integrations available in varying stages of general availability, beta, or experimental. As an example, the support for uptime and synthetic monitoring is available to the users who want to monitor availability of their services. That's currently in beta. Including an APM server as part of that life cycle is also available as beta. Various monitoring of various AWS services, Azure, MySQL, and as Jason was showing you, IIS, those integrations are also available. And a host of others that allow you to ingest logs, metrics from a wide variety of sources. All of these are available at different levels of general availability. Now, it should be noted that experimental or beta integrations should not be deployed in customer environments. We endeavor to bring more of these to be generally available and supported by Elastic. So in summary, our goal here at Elastic is to reduce the time it takes to get to useful insights. As you've seen today, Elastic Agent allows for a much faster and easy onboarding of data, which reduces the pain associated with data collection. We will continue to support beats as they are prevalent in our customer base. So we will have two solutions to offer as far as ingested data is concerned, but we will be enhancing the Elastic Agent so that it can address more and more of those use cases in our customer base. Central management of these agents greatly reduces the burden of managing data collectors, especially when they're deployed at scale. As you saw, to be able to update these endpoint agents and ensure that they're healthy and they're actually communicating at scale is very important. And that central management is really the cornerstone of our solution here. In addition to that central management, we have a large selection of integrations to address security, observability, use cases within a single deployment model as it was demonstrated. As far as the consumption model is concerned, there's no extra cost associated with the agent. So the model allows you to instrument your entire network without really having to worry about extra budgets and what have you, at no extra cost, incremental cost to you. So it's all available there today. So thank you for joining us today. Feel free to leave your questions in the QA section so we can respond to them properly. Thank you.